Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is playing out a massive hidden bullish divergence, while Ethereum is retesting this important line of resistance in the short term, which I'll talk about later in the video, so make sure to watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 3-day Bitcoin charts, because right now, as I'm recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is playing out a hidden bullish divergence on the 3-day time frame, because as you can see here on the 3-day Bitcoin chart, once again, we have confirmed higher lows in the price of Bitcoin in the 3-day candle closes, while also confirming lower lows in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. And so this is known as a hidden bullish divergence, which is basically a bullish trend continuation pattern, because here on the 3-day time frame, on the larger time frames, as I've said since around the beginning of this year, technically we're in a much larger bullish trend, forming larger higher lows and higher highs. But obviously within that much larger bullish trend, we do experience these shorter term bearish trends, which are more visible here on the daily time frame. As we can see, we're clearly seeing more of a bearish trend over the last couple of months on the daily chart, forming lower highs and lower lows. But once again, when you zoom out to a larger time frame, like the 3-day or 4-day chart, for example, we can clearly see more of a bullish trend that has been playing out since around the beginning of this year. And so obviously seeing a hidden bullish divergence, keeping the higher low structure in the price action, while also resetting the RSI. Once again, this is bullish for the price of Bitcoin, pointing towards a trend continuation in the much larger bullish trend. And if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, once again, as I mentioned in my last video on the channel, if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin RSI, this is now successfully playing out a retest from this previous descending line of resistance. And once again, as I've been talking about since all the way back here around the beginning of July, once again, this descending line of resistance stems from a bearish divergence that we saw all the way back then. And then once again, over the last few months, that bearish divergence has played out in the price and the RSI. But more recently, over the last 1 to 2 weeks or so, obviously we've seen an invalidation of that bearish divergence by seeing a breakout in the RSI. And not only that, of course, we have formed a new bullish divergence, which has already been playing out over the last couple of weeks. And so once again, this is all pointing towards, at the very least, some sort of pause or relief from that bearish trend on the daily time frame, which obviously is currently playing out as expected. But in order to become more confident in an actual bullish trend beginning to play out rather than a bearish trend, so basically a trend reversal confirming on the daily time frame, in order to become more confident in that, we ideally need to see a breakout above this previous high in the price action, which by the way is sitting at approximately $28,000. Because technically, while the price of Bitcoin is still in this lower high, lower low price structure on the daily time frame, technically speaking, that is still more of a bearish trend in the price action. And not only that, if you're looking at the highs, once again, we're still sitting in lower highs, while the RSI on the daily time frame is technically sitting in higher highs, which is actually a hidden bearish divergence. But at least for now, this has not fully confirmed, because right now the RSI is continuing to hold above this important line right here. We are not seeing a breakdown at the moment in the RSI. And for example, if this bullish divergence continues playing out on the daily time frame, which is already active, and on top of that, if we begin to see the hidden bullish divergence now play out on the 3-day time frame, where the price of Bitcoin could continue to form higher highs in the Bitcoin price here on the daily time frame, then obviously in that case, if we see higher highs above this previous high, while also seeing higher highs in the RSI, there is simply no divergence there at all if we see higher highs in the price, a breakout above this previous high. And so once again, as I've explained recently on the channel, we do have these early signals pointing towards a potential trend reversal from bearish back to bullish here on the daily time frame, but we have not fully confirmed that trend reversal, because once again, we have not yet confirmed a breakout above 28K, above this previous high. But even though that is not yet the case, once again, at the very least, we're still due to see at least some sort of pause or relief from that bearish trend due to this active bullish divergence now playing out. And on top of that, if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin MACD, this is still showing very low momentum, which means at the moment on the daily time frame, we currently do not have a very strong direction in the price of Bitcoin, which is why we've seen a lot of choppy sideways price action in the much shorter term term more recently. And speaking of the short term, zooming into the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, taking a look at the Fibonacci retracement tool, obviously over the last 1 to 2 days, we've clearly seen a lot of choppy sideways price action because the Bitcoin price hasn't really moved all that much compared to where we were just a few days ago. But obviously we have seen some very volatile movements to the upside and to the downside, and now back to the upside as of recording this video. And believe it or not, you can actually make a lot of profit very easily during choppy sideways price action just like this. And if you want to know how to do that, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, quickly talking about support and resistance. Right now, as of recording this video, we could find a bit of short-term resistance just here, sitting at around 26.8k to 26.9k. But if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout above that level, then in that case, the next resistance to pay attention to in the short term is these previous highs, sitting closer towards around 27.4 to 27.5k. And in a more bullish scenario, let's just say if the price breaks out above these previous highs just here, then once again, I'll be focusing on this previous high at around 28k, which will be an important level to break out above here on the daily time frame. And as for short-term support, once again, looking at that Fibonacci retracement tool, we could find a bit of short-term support at around 26.5k. But if the price of Bitcoin actually breaks back below 26.5k, then in that case, we could find some support at around 26.1k to 26.2k, like what we saw over the last 1 day. But in a more bearish scenario, if we actually see a break back below that level, then in that case, we have the golden pocket area of support in between 25.8k to 25.9k. And below the golden pocket, we also have the 78.6% Fibonacci level of support at around 25.4k to 25.5k. And just before getting into the Ethereum part of this video, just quickly reminding you that there's only 2 days left on this exclusive airdrop happening over at Bybit. And so if you want to receive up to 120 USDT simply by just trading crypto on Bybit, then make sure to check this out. I'll leave a link to this page in the description down below and in the pinned comment. In fact, it'll be the first link down below this video. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And right now, the price of ETH is once again testing this important area of resistance, sitting in between around 1620 to 1660. And this area of resistance is very important for the price of ETH because it is based on previous important support and also the volume profile indicator on the daily time frame. And as you can see here in the volume profile indicator, if we see a confirmed breakout well above 1660, then in that case, we do not really have a lot of resistance immediately on the other side. And so essentially, if we can confirm a breakout above that area of resistance and ideally flip that into new support again, that could be very bullish for the price of ETH because we could continue to see a movement to the upsides. And the next area of resistance in the volume profile indicator starts at around 1.8k, closer towards around 1850. And so as I've said recently on the channel over the last few weeks, we really need to see a confirmed breakout above 1660 with confirmation in order to potentially start flipping more bullish again in terms of the trend. Because obviously, as we've seen since around mid-July, we have been in more of a bearish trend here on the daily time frame, forming lower highs and lower lows. But just recently, we have potentially started to form a new higher low. And if we see a breakout above this resistance, obviously that could also form a new higher high. And so that is the confirmation signal that we need to wait for. Once again, a confirmed breakout above 1660 in order to potentially start flipping much more bullish again in terms of the trend. And as I've also said over the last 1 to 2 weeks, the RSI is often a leading indicator of more of this bullish price action because as I said all the way back here during early July, the RSI back then already began showing weakness before the price began showing weakness. So basically we could start flipping more bearish again on the price before the price actually started to flip more bearish because once again the RSI was a leading indicator. But what we've seen in the daily RSI over the last few weeks is more of a bullish trend beginning to form from out of those oversold territories. And so essentially we're beginning to see more strength show up in the daily RSI, which is why we're seeing a little bit more of a relief, or at the very least some sort of pause, consolidation from that bearish trend. We have not seen as much bearish price action over the last few weeks compared to over the last couple of months. And as for the daily Ethereum MACD, this is still showing relatively low momentum. So once again, at least for now, based on the MACD alone, this means we do not really have a strong direction on the chart, which is why we have seen a lot of choppy sideways price action over the last couple of weeks. And once again, you can still make a lot of money very easily in choppy sideways price action, so stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, quickly taking a look at this daily ETH to US dollar chart, just to quickly remind you that of course a bullish divergence is still technically active on the daily time frame, and as always, a bullish divergence typically plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief. So once again, at the very least, we're due to see some sort of pause from the bearish trend. And as for short-term support and resistance, right now, as of recording this video, the price of ETH is actually attempting a breakout above this short-term level of resistance, which is where we saw a rejection just yesterday. And this level of resistance is sitting at approximately 1635. But if we can confirm a breakout above this resistance with ideally a 4-hour candle close at least, if not confirming this resistance as new support again, then in that case, if we see more bullish confirmation signals here, then in that case, we could likely continue up towards these previous highs, sitting closer towards around 1660 to 1670, which is where I would expect the next resistance to come into play. And as for short-term support, if we actually break back below around 1635, then in that case, the next short-term support is sitting at around 1615. And below that level, we could also find some support at around 1.6k, like what we saw over the last one day, and also the golden pocket sitting in between around 1578 to 1583, which is also where we found support just recently over the last few days. And now, if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways in the short term like right now, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.